So what is a module? A Python module is a file which contains some variables and constants, some functions, objects, etc. defined in it, which can be used in other Python program. Say for example, I've shown you, I think, import math, right? Then you can use the math library functions as math dot and the function. So let me do few examples so that you can understand how math works. We go to idle, and in idle first we import. Then we write down functions like math dot ceil. The ceil function returns the smallest integer which is not less than the number. Fine. So if you write here 1.03, you will get 2.0 or 2. Fine. If you write math dot ceil 1.00, then also you will get 2. And if you write math dot ceil, right, minus 1.03, then you will get minus 1.0, okay, or minus 1. Then there is another function which is called square root, a very common function. So if you write here math dot square root, sqrt, square root is written as sqrt, not square root. So sqrt, and then if you write here say 81, right, then it will find out the square root of uh, 81, right, which is 9.0. You can write math dot square root of, okay, math dot square root of and the number. Say for example, you have given 80, then also you will get a answer, right, which is very close to 9. That is 8.944271909 and 16, right? Then there is a function called math.exp. If you write here 2.0, will give you the value 7.3980560989365. Okay, so exp function returns the natural logarithm e raised to the argument power, right? So math.exp 2.0 gives you the value of e square. Okay, so generally the people who are from the mathematics background, they can understand this part, right? The people who are not from the mathematics background, or they have not completed class 12 mathematics, so they might face some issue with this. So don't worry, you will learn it in future. So the next thing is the FABS function, right? So math dot FABS function. This function removes the sign, right? It returns the absolute value. Fine. So if you provide here minus 1.5, it will return you 1.5. And evenly, if you write math dot FABS 1.5, you will get 1.5, right? So this function basically returns the absolute value. That means the value without sign magnitude. Okay. Then there is a function called math.floor. So math.floor returns, say if you write 1.03, it will return you 1, right? If you write math.1.99, which is very close to 2, then also it will return you 1. If you write math.floor minus 1.03, okay, it will return you minus. So math.floor function returns the largest integer not greater than. So the next function is pow function, math.pow. So math.pow, first you have to write down the base, and then you have to write down the exponent, right? Say for example, base I took 30, and in the exponent I took 0. So it will return you 1, right? If you write math dot comma 3, it will return you 8, right? It works for decimal also. If you write math.pow 2.5 comma 3, it will return you 15.625. So this is the pow function. Fine. So there are innumerous amount of functions available in math module. Okay. There are many functions. Evenly, you can have constants like math.py or math.e. Okay. So if you write here math.py, you can get the math.py. So you can get the pi value, right? If you write math.e, so you can get the exponential constant, right? Which is 2.71878281824599045. Okay. So let me take all these, write it one by one. So math.ceil. So sorry guys, my pen is out of the charge. I have to remove the battery and reinstall the new battery. Okay, now it is working. Fine. So the first thing is ceil function. The ceil function returns the smallest integer, not less than. So that is why you are able to see here too, right? So it's actually generates the, because 1.03, see if you see the number line, so if this is 1 and if this is 2, right? So the distance between 1 and 2, right? The distance between 1 and 2, after 1, the next integer, the num is 2. The num is, this is num. The num is 2. Okay. So it always returns the smallest integer, which is not less than num, right? So this is the num value, right? So it always returns this. If it is, if your value is more than this, if your value is more than this, then it always returns 2, right? In the case of, negative value, in the case of negative value, it returns, say for example, in the case of negative value, it r- it it's going towards right side, and this is the case of positive, right? But in the case of negative, what will happen? See, this is your 0, this is your -1, right? And then this is your -2, right? So 1 minus 1.03, right? So minus 1.03 is this. Say assume this is minus 1.03. So the values, means ki in calculus what will happen? Okay, the values are trying to move, they always try to move towards positive side. They always try to move towards positive side, right? So in this case, because we are doing ceil, right? So it is moving towards higher side. It's trying to move towards higher side. So it will return you -1, right? Because -1 is a higher value than minus 1.03, right? So it always tries to tends towards higher side, right? So that is why we have got 1 here, -1 over here. Fine. So that logic is being implemented in the ceil. Okay. So next function is math.square root. It's very much easy, right? So the square root function, the square root function returns the square root of num, returns the square root of num. If num is less than 0, if num is less than 0, right, it produces an error. If num is less than 0, domain error occurs. Domain error occurs. Fine. So let me give a try with a negative number, and we try to find out the square root of the negative number, which is basically a complex number, but if we can provide. So if we write here math dot dot sqrd of -81. So if you try to find it out, it will produce math domain error, right? It will generate a math domain error when you write this. So it will produce the math domain. The next function is math.fabs. So math.fabs function returns the absolute value, right? So this function returns the absolute value, the absolute value. Okay. So the next function is math.floor. The floor function, right? The floor function returns the largest integer not greater than num. Returns the largest integer not greater than num. So here also you can see that here if it is you take the number line and this is 0, this is 1 and this is 2, right? So here even if the value, if for positive values, this is 1, this one is 2. For positive values and my value is say 1.99, right? Very close to 2. But it always tends to this value. It always tends towards this value in the case of positive, right? So it will produce the largest integer not greater than num, right? But for the case of negative, but for the case of negative, right, this is 0, fine. This is -1 and this one is -2, fine. So here the things are opposite, right? So the number is tending towards this side. The number is tending towards this side. Okay. The number is tending towards this side. So it will generate the result -2, right? It will generate the results -2. Okay. So for positive side, the result you will get it in this side because it is floor. It is going towards backward side. So that is why it is a floor value. Okay. So you remember this diagram. This diagram is very important to understand ceil and the floor functions of Python, and evenly the ceil and floor function of Java also, the ceil and floor function of C++ also, the ceil and floor function of C language also, right? So these are the very common languages and where ceil and floor function is a common function, and same thing happens for the square root function also. Okay. So these are the basic math functions which I have discussed with you, but there are more math functions available, right? Trigonometrical functions, logarithmic functions are available for math, right? Which I have not discussed. Then I have discussed the few constants present in the math. So these are constants in math. So this is a constant, right? Constants in math. Math module. So these two are constants of math module. So pi you people know, e you people also know. The people who have done past class 12 with science, they also understand the value of e also. So I'm not going in detail because we are studying here basics of Python. So let me go to another module, right? That module is very much useful for creating games. Fine. So very simple games we play in our life is called Ludo, right? So in Ludo, we use random numbers. In Ludo, we use random numbers, and the random numbers we select from a dice face value. Okay. So what are the face values of the dice? How many face values of a dice? Please type how many face values of a dice. Only one person has typed 6. Okay. So actually it has 6 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And yeah, we can make rock, paper, and scissor also using random. Yeah, that's true. So this kind of a game we can made with the help of a rock, paper, and scissor, the Ludo's dice, right? Which is also possible. So random module is very important if you want to design a game, and random module is also very useful when we work with lists also, right? Because I'm not going to enter data with my own hand. I'm going to take the help of a computer, and computer is going to feed the lists. And what I will do, I will write my code to access the information by using one logic. Okay, so what we can do here, okay, we have to import the random module, right? So let me write. So Python has a module name random, a random number, random that provides the random number generator. To use random number generator in your Python program, you first need to import. So you have to import the random module in your shell or in your program, right? And then you can random modules, or we will write three most common random generator of random module are, say, number one, we have random. So it returns the random number. I'll show you practically also. It returns a random a random floating point number, floating point number n in the range 0 0.0, in the range 0.0 to 1.0. That is 0.0 is less than equal to n less than 1.0, less than 1.0. So it will never return 1.0. It will generate the numbers between 0.0 to 1.0, but 1.0 is not going to be included, right? So it generates the floating point number. Fine. The second one, number two, random or randint. The next function is randint, R-A-N-D, randint. So it will generate randint A comma, it returns A comma B, it returns a random integer, a random integer in the range A comma B, in the range A comma, that is A is less than equal to n is less than equal to b also. Here b is included, right? So we can say that here both range limits are inclusive. So remember, it generates an integer. So next is number three type. All right. So number three type is rand. So rand range have something interesting over here. So it contains a start, start. Then it contains a stop, right? It contains a stop, and it contains a step. Practically to you, then you people can easily understand. Step. Don't worry. It returns random number. It returns random number from range start with step value So let's try to understand one by one of them, right? So first we try to understand uh, random, how to import. We need to import it. Okay, first. So what you have to do, you have to write here import random in your shell. Okay, so random is imported in your shell. Then what you do, if you write here random dot, random. Okay. So random dot random will generate a number. Okay. So it has generated a number 0.016, and it always generates the different number every time when you call the generating a different number. Okay, it's always generating a different number, right? So the next thing is, okay, say for example, we can have fun with this. Okay, say for example, I want to generate a random floating point number between a range of lower to upper using random function. Okay, then multiply, what we have to do, we have to multiply the random function value with the difference of upper limit with lower limit, right? So upper limit and lower limit, and then we have to the add it to the lower limit, right? Then we have to add it to the lower limit. These two steps are required. Okay, so let me do it first and then I will explain it to you, right? If I write here random, say for example, I want to generate a random number between 1 to 6, then what I have to do, right? So then I will write here random dot random. Okay, fine. This will be multiplied with the value, that is the higher value is 6 and the lower value is 1, right? Multiply by or added by 1. Right, so this formula is there and it will generate the number between 1 to 6. It will always generate a number between 1 to 6, right? And it will generate the floating point value. Remember, it will generate floating point number. It will not generate integer value. Remember this thing, it will not generate integer value, right? People get confused with the dice example, right? So don't get confused with the dice example. It will generate the floating point number between 1 to 6, right? It may be any number. You can see it has generated 4.97488, something like that, right? So let me copy it and execute it once again. So you can see that it is generating the number, right? So now you can see that the numbers are different kinds of values is being generated, but the values are never exceeding 6, right? The values are never exceeding 6. Till now, I got 5.68, which is the highest, and it's most 5.57, then yeah, 5.29. It's not reaching 6. 5.90 is the highest which I've got. So it will generate a random number between one random number, but in floating point, right? But in floating point, it will not return you integer value, right? But if you want to if you want to generate integer value, then there is a function available, randint. So you can use that, right? So if you write random dot randint. If you write here random dot randint, okay, then if you write here 1 comma 6, 1 comma rate the value. Oh my god, at first go I got 6. So my buttons were out, and it will start moving after this, no, in Ludo. So it's a very good number for value. I got 5, so I can move 5 places after that using the button. Again, another person has also got 6, right? 6, 1, then 1, then 2, then 5, then 1, then 2, then 2, then 6, then 2, 3, 2, 3. So you can use this function if you lose the dice of the Ludo and play the Ludo, right? According to the rules. Fine. So Python helps you to play Ludo also, right? So it's helping in everywhere in the industry and in the human's life. That is why I always say that this is a course of Python with humans, right? So Python is helping humans to sometimes to play, sometimes to help them to work also. Okay. So to generate a random number in the range 1 to 6, we will use this, and it generates integer value. Okay, so let me take these two constructs and I will explain it to you also. So let me take this one. We take few of them. This is the normal, uh, and we take few of them. And let me take the integer example also of randint. So here you can see random dot random, right? It generates, right? It generates it the output is generated. The output generated is between 0.0 to 1.0, right? So now come to this part, right? These parts, right? What I'm doing here. So to generate a random floating point number, to generate a random floating point number, to generate a random floating point number, generate a random floating point number between lower to upper range, lower to upper range using lower to upper range using random. So we need to do two steps. First step, there are two steps here, right? First step is multiply, multiply, multiply. So first we are doing multiplication, right? So what we are multiplying? We are multiplying this with this, right? So we write here random, multiply random with difference of with difference of upper limit with lower limit, upper limit with lower limit, with lower limit, right? So that is upper minus lower, that is upper minus lower. Okay, and number two step will be, the second step is add it to the lower limit, add it or add to it lower limit. So this is the lower limit, this is the lower limit, this is upper minus lower, this is upper minus lower, and this is the lower limit, this is the lower. Okay, let me change the color so that you people can easily recognize it. Let me change it with the red color. So this is the lower limit, right? So this is the lower limit. Fine. The next thing is we have used random.randint 1,6, right? So this is, so the output generated is integer. The output generated is the output generated the output generated is integer between 1 and 6. Fine, 1 and 6, and both the numbers are inclusive, and both are inclusive in the output. So these things are very much important in your CBSE exams, right? You will definitely get questions in the CBSE exams. You can get random questions in your other exams also, right? So random is very important for you, right? You will see in every paper, in whatever examination you are giving, either in school or in college or in for gate examination also, I have seen that they give the questions on random number, right? So you will score something, right? And people get panicked with the random number. So if you are not panicking with the random number, you can increase your gate rank blank also. Fine, if you're feeling comfortable with the random number. So they will obviously define a rule in the GATE examination or in college examination if you're using a different kind of a language, right? And after the rule, they will give you this question. So you have to read the question properly, read the rule properly, and answer it. It's fun out there. Random means fun. Okay. So the next function is rand range function, which we need to understand, right? So rand range function is an overloaded function, right? So let me write it here. Rand range function. Rand range function. The function rand range can be used in following ways. Used in following three ways. So number one is random dot rand range, and we just put the stop value to generate a random number, in the range, in the range 0 to stop value. Example. So let me show you. It's very simple. So if you write here a value, like if you write here random dot rand range, range. So if you put here 45, it will generate. So I've given here 45, and you can see it has generated a value 40, right? Maybe I've done some typos at the top. Okay. So if we copy this and we keep on executing this, we will get the values between 0 to 45, right? You can see the values. It's a nice way to get one integer value, right? Then there is another function called so this is the example, right? So these are the example of random dot rand range. So these are the next thing is number two. So second type is very much simple. So this is the first way, and then we write it down here. The second way. So second way is also very simple. You write random dot rand range side you write start and stop to generate a random number in the range start to stop. To generate a random number in the range start angular brackets in start and stop, and here the values are inclusive. Right? So it will include the value of stop, right? So even at the top also it includes the value of stop. So let's do some experiment and we write down the examples here. So we write here random range dot range. Say I have started it from 1 and ended the value at 6. So it's generating the values between 1 to, so it's not taking the stop value is not included in this most probably. So that is why I did not receive the stop value. Random dot study with this and we'll check it out. What is the rand range, right? So returns the randomly selected elements from range start, stop, and step. So this is equivalent to choice range, and yeah, they have not mentioned it properly. Let me see. Some people have generally W3 schools materials are good. So we can read this material. So an integer specifying at which position to end, optional the integer specifying incrementation. So it's not written out there, but I'm not getting the value 6 here. Let me try it once or twice. I'm getting the value till 5. I'm not getting the value 6 here, right? To get it 6, you can do one thing. You can write it here 7. then you may get a chance to get 6. So if we use this, may get 6. Yeah, I got it 6. I got the 6. Now I'm getting 6. So the stop value is not included in the range, right? So we can write the thing into the theory. Let's take this examples. So you can see that here stop value, here the stop value is not included, right? So this is the start value, this is the start, and this one is the stop, right? Stop value is not included in the output, is not included in the output, right? So here the range is like this. Okay, you can think that it will be 1 to 6. It will generate rate random integers from 1 to random integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? Stop value is not included. Stop value is not included. Fine. So next we look the very interesting part of rand range, right? So we look at this, the part number 3. First we write down start, then we write down stop, and we write down here, fine. The last one is called step, right? We call it step. What will happen here? Okay, to generate a random number in the range start to stop start to stop here, but here the difference between the difference between two such generated random numbers will be the multiple of step will be multiple of step So let me show you one example for this. Otherwise it will be very much difficult for you. Say for example, I'm writing, so let me write down for example, if I'm writing it out like this, okay, this random dot rand range, random dot rand range. In the bracket I have given here say 2, and over here I have given here 50, right? And here I have given 4. Okay, so what will happen here? Okay, when I try to execute this, internally there will be a list will be generated, right? An internal list of number is going to be generated. So the first value is 2, the second value will be 6, right? The third value will be 10, the fourth value will be 14, then 18, then 22, then 26, then 30, then 34, 38, 38 plus 4, 42 plus 46, and 50 is there, right? So this list will be generated, right? And among this list of numbers, only these numbers will be picked randomly. These numbers will be picked randomly and returned to the user, right? So it will generate 2 or 6 or 10 or 14 or 18 or 22 or 26 or 30 or 34 or 38 or 42 or 46 or 50. Any of these number, other numbers will not be uh, selected or picked, right? So we have created a list, an internal list in Python, and on the list values, it will generate the random number. Got my point? So let's see this example practically. Fine. So it's quite interesting. Dot random range. If you write here 50, if you write here 4, okay. So it will pick. It has picked 14. So 14 is a part of the list, I hope, which I have created. You can see that 14 is a part of the list, right? So let me execute this function once again, and let's see what values we are getting. Okay, so 10 we have got. So 10 is there in our list. 6 is there, 22 is there, 2 is there, 10 is there, 10 is there, 6 is there, 10 is there, 14 is there, 26 is there, 38 is there, 18 is there, 26 is there, 38 is there, 10, 30 is there, 38 is there, 34 is also there. You can see 34, 42 is also there, right? 34, 46 is also there, right? Now you can see and compare these values, uh, the list which I have prepared. So I have done ample amount of experiment to explain you this. So you go to, there are numerous examples over here. You can see, fine. So it's generating the numbers in the list which I have created. Right. So this random dot rand range, the third one, is a very common questions in most of the time it came in GATE also, right? So if you choose a language Python or C, C++, right? Or they might ask you, the people who are going to give the GATE examination, they might have asked you to generate this kind of thing, right? And it is a very common question in CBSE also right now. Okay, so rand range function, you will get it for 2 marks. So 2 marks is important. Every marks is important in CBSE, right? So now let's create let's work with the statistics module, right? There is another module in our Python called statistics module. Okay. So you can have fun with the random values at home, and you play and you tell me about your experience in the random module. Okay. You play with this, right? And try to generate a different kind of things. Fine. I hope the idea behind the random module is clear to you people. So using the statistics module of the Python library, statistics module of the Python standard library provides many statistics functions. In order to use in your program, to use these in your program, you need to first import the Python statistics module. So what we can do here, we can import the statistics module, right? So how to do that? It's very easy, or everyone knows. I have to write import statistics module is imported in my shell, right? Or if you want to use it in your program, in the program file at the very top, you will write import statistics. There is another way to import the statistics methods or math. It can be applied to math also. Okay. So let me explain the functions, and then later on I will be returning back to that point. Okay, how to import the thing, right? So what we have So I'm going to explain you few of them. I'm going to explain you mean, median, mode thing only. And later on you can, later on we will do more functions in statistics module also. We use statistics module in our life. Okay. So today I'm just giving you the introduction to this. So you can then, you, you can then use the statistic, can use the statistics. So the first one is statistics dot mean, right? And here what we have to do, here we have to put sequence, SEQ, sequence, right? The sequence chapter I have not done, but it is basically a list, right? I have to provide a list inside, because without list I cannot explain you the statistics function, right? You may get lost if I teach you more things, right? So just list means ki a group of values. Just understand this, and we can find out the mean of those things. Okay. So it returns, what it returns? It returns the average value, returns the average value, it returns the average value of the set or sequence of of values. The next function is statistics. Here also we find the sequence, right? We use the sequence as a parameter, and it returns the middle value of the or sequence set or sequence of value. And the next is statistics. This will be small s, huh? Statistics. If I've written in the note capital S, make it small, huh? Because of automatic correction mode is on over here. So that is why it is sometimes in capital. So statistics return, it returns the most, it returns the most often, mode means it returns the most often repeated value of the set or sequence. So let me show you a few examples of all these so that you people will feel a bit comfortable, right? So let me create a sequence here. In the square bracket, I'm placing some values like 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 7, 2, 2, 3, 1, 9, 0, and then I'm placing 4, 9, right, 5, 4, 9, 5, 3, then again 9, then again 8. Let it be the last value is 2. So this is a sequence which we people have created, right? And now I'm going to use this, right? So first thing I need to find out the mean value. So I have to write here mean, and then I'm writing here SEQ. Okay. Sorry, extremely sorry. I have used the mean function directly. So what I have to do, I have to give the reference of statistics, right? Then I can use the mean, right? So statistic statistics dot mean, and I have to pass here. You can see that it's helping us data. So data is sequence. Now it will find out the mean. So the mean value is 5.166666667, right? So that is the mean value. I don't know. I've not calculated the mean with my hand, right? So I'm believing that Python has done the good job. Okay. Then let me calculate the median also, right? So let me write here statistics dot median, and I'm passing here sequence median. Maybe I missed out some dot median. So you can see that the median value is 5.0, right? And I'm believing that this Python is working fine. So I'm not finding it the median also, right? And then mode, right? So mode value we can calculate it very easily. So I'm doing it because I'm a lazy person, so I do easy calculations. So we can see that no, it is not looking easy. There are many. So 9, 1, 2, 2, 9, 3, 9, 3, 9, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, there are 3 5s and 3 9. So let me see which value it is going to give. Okay, and I have used 2, 1, 2, 2 times. Okay, 3 is how many times? 1, 2, that's it. Only 5 is 3 times and 9 is 3 times. Okay, so let's see what we are going to get. So statistics dot mode, and we put here our sequence as EQ. Okay, so now we are getting 5. Okay, so let me print the sequence. Now you can see the sequence. Okay, so this is the sequence and we have got the mode as 5. So 5 has appeared more times than 9. 9 has appeared 1, 2, 3 times. 5 has appeared 1, 2, and 3 times. But 5 came first. That is why 5 is being selected. Okay. So that is the way of selection of mode, right? So this is the basic idea regarding statistics because these are basic functions. So I have used it to explain you. Okay. So So this much is the class for today, and in the next class we will be shifting to a new concept called conditional and iterative statements. Most of the people are absent due to exams today, so that is why I'm not doing that chapter. So because it is one of the most important and the fundamental conceptual chapter of Python, right? And it is the most required chapter also of the Python. So I will be doing that thing in the next week because most of the people are absent.